right, guys, this is Crazy Kevin here, and I'm here with UFC fighter Carlos Vera. Carlos, how we doing?
Good morning, guys. How y'all doing? I'm doing great. Started off my day solid. Got some PT in the next few hours, so I'm just cruising.
I love it. I love it. Now, talk to us a little bit about that PT. I mean, you just had a last fight in February. Talk to us a little bit about the matchup and everything that's going on with you.
Yeah, of course, the fight was a great fight. I had an awesome opponent, Rinya Nakamura. I lost by decision in the first 30 seconds of the fight. We both hit the ground. I tried to do like a rolling connection, and we both hit the ground in a weird position where his body weight and my weight spiked specifically onto my shoulder at a specific angle, and my shoulder exploded. It was a grade 5 AC separation, broken clavicle that was piercing in through the muscle, a torn labrum, and the dislocated shoulder. So that was in the first 30 seconds. That was a lot of pain, but we tried to keep a straight composure, which I guess I did okay because apparently no one knew that I was hurt except for they thought I might have sprained my shoulder, which was not the case. And then because of my adjustments with foot locks, I couldn't move my body a certain way to try to finish. So I was forcing my leg to try to finish foot lock instead of moving my body in conjunction with my leg. And round two, I popped my LCL and tore my meniscus. So let's just say that this one injury led to another injury. But I mean, at the end of the day, I was proud of my performance, and I was honored to fight such a great opponent. And right now, PT is cruising. The surgery went well. I got titanium rod in my shoulder, and it feels a lot better. I just got out of a sling. I was in a sling for about almost a month and a half. So I just got taken out of a sling. And I have a little bit more freedom, and little by little, we're just getting that mobility back. I'm shadow boxing with my right hand and my left leg, but I still can't do anything with my right leg. Still recovering in my left shoulder. So we're in PT right now, cruising. I foresee myself starting to train a little bit more openly, lightly, of course, within the next month. So probably starting late May and June, I'll be able to do some very light grappling drilling and some very light striking drilling as well. By August, I should be just about back to normal, hopefully, if the Lord permits.
Awesome, awesome. That would be great. We would definitely be looking forward to seeing you around August. Now, one thing you just mentioned, obviously you got a bunch of stuff going on with your shoulder. As a martial artist myself, I actually tore both of my labrums. I had to get surgery myself, so I kind of know a small little bit of what you're going through, I guess. But with that being said, with your shoulder injury in general, how important is recovery when it comes to training in the gym and, I guess even after your fights now?
I mean, recovery is it's going to be vital, because this time frame that I have right now is going to dictate the actual healing, the range of motion, and what stress I can put on my body, my shoulder, my knee in particular, um, in the future. And I train smart, but I train consistently and I train a lot. And half of my training is very hard training, whether it be grappling and sparring. So if I don't use this time wisely, and I'm going to be honest with you, I have not taken a break physically this long in over a decade. I mean, it's been consistent work 2 to 3 times a day for the last 10 years, if not more. So it's been an adjustment, but I know it's a necessary adjustment. If the doctor tells me, man, you need to rest up, I'm doing my best to heal it up and then slowly but surely test the limits to see what I can do, like how long I can hold kind of push up position, like little baby steps. And all I can really do is just, do what I can. So at this point, it's going to be like practicing a little bit of footwork, working on my right hands, and then watching footage. I can't grapple yet. So I can't put weight on my shoulder on the ground yet. I can't punch with this hand really yet. So yeah, it's a vital time, man. I think it's really important. As long as I take it seriously, I should be back training and well by August, which means I should be able to take a fight by the end of the year.
That'd be great. No, that would definitely be awesome for sure. Now, another thing that was really, really awesome about you is as a kid, you were a Taekwondo practitioner and you were doing a lot of awesome Taekwondo competitions. Can you talk to us a little bit about those Taekwondo competitions and what it was like to compete at those?
Sure, I started Taekwondo when I was four. When I first moved to the States, I was put in a martial arts academy called Moon College Taekwondo. The originator was one of the original students of the General Cho, which is one of like the creator of Taekwondo, and his original students dispersed through the world. And my teacher, original teacher, was Yang Moon. Um, I mean, he was exactly what you think of. He's like the typical late '80s, early '90s like martial arts instructors that walk around with a cane and smack you, that barely speaks English. He smacks you if you mess up, you know. And it was a different time where that's where I really got the discipline that I came up with. And keep in mind, I was an immigrant. I had just moved to the States. So, I mean, we would sit up and we would sing the Korean national anthem every class, before every class, which it was a different time. But I knew the Korean national anthem before I knew the American national anthem, which is hysterical. But yeah, so, that was my upbringing and in a traditional martial arts with a very stern and strict teacher. Once he moved back to Korea, my teacher that took over, his name is Tai Lee, and he is Vietnamese, but he ran the school very much like the original owner. And his son is Tan Lee, who you might be familiar with his name. He's the former ONE FC world champ. So we grew up training just like we do now, except we had our schooling, right? So we would do school and then we would just live in the gym. I mean, it was something that people ask us, have you ever gotten in street fights? Did you get in trouble? No, not really, dude. My whole life was in an academy. I was training footwork, throwing how to kick, teaching how to kick, and then getting ready for these competitions, which, in Louisiana, we did a lot of state tournaments. I won the state tournament. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times we went through it. Obviously, they had ups and downs, but I mean, we definitely took over the state championship many times. We went into the nationals several times, and then the Junior Olympics we went to several times. I placed fourth in the Junior Olympics, and then second in forms. So so it was just a lifetime of competing. The cool thing though is that if you're familiar with Taekwondo, we have different styles of Taekwondo, right? They have like Olympic style sparring, they have point sparring, they have this and that. And back in the day, it was WTF and USTU. I think now they switched them up a little bit, but we were always into the Olympic style sparring, so we're not just stopping as soon as we get a point. It was continuous, so our footwork had to be different than per se a point sparring scenario. And I mean, between Ty and myself growing up, we like to bang, man. So every now and then we would throw leg kicks. Every now and then we would clinch it, throw knees, and slowly but surely, when we were able to morph that into like a different kind of like MMA based Taekwondo, MMA just happened to appear, and we transitioned to that in our 20s, which was late, but luckily we had decades, over a decade, freaking a lifetime basically of Taekwondo to help us achieve success in MMA. And that's what happened.
Yeah, no, 100%. That definitely makes sense. Now, one thing that always it seems like it gets a lot of hate online is point sparring in martial arts for like just I guess tournaments and that kind of stuff. What benefits do you think it has when it comes to training it as a martial artist?
Point sparring is still very beneficial. I mean, I think every kind of sparring that you do is beneficial. Now, point sparring, I think, would have to be a little bit more with accuracy and with specific timing, because in the game of point sparring, it's 3 points you win. So, I mean, just the ability to gain that point and the accuracy that you need to get to that point, uh, it's phenomenal when it comes time to like competition. You're like, man, I gotta score. Scoring this, that. The only thing is that sometimes it brings about a little bit of I hate to use the word spazzy, but every now and then people will do whatever, and like technique kind of goes out the window, and you see like a flying back fist. from one part of the ring to the other part of the ring, you know. And in Taekwondo, point sparring Taekwondo, that might work. But in MMA, you're about to get blasted into the ground, you know. So obviously, people that complain, I mean, they have some validity, but they've also never lived the sport, you know, and they can only say so much. You know, I have done some point sparring competitions too. I'll say this: the good point sparrers are great. You know, I look at Wonder Boy Thompson, look at Venom Cage. These are classic point spars. You can tell by the way they fight MMA. However, I mean, you know, they've had to adjust, and you know, myself and my buddy Tom, like we're classic, like kind of Olympic style Taekwondo guys, which is why kind of our footwork tends to be a little bit more of our base. But man, there's pros and cons to every benefit, every style. So I'll never talk bad about any particular competition or style. There's good and bad in everyone.
Yeah, no, 100%. Michael Page definitely has some pretty sick point sparring like matches on YouTube and stuff too. One other thing I was really curious about is you've obviously trained with Ryan Hall, who's a beast on the ground, and when you watch MMA, it's really, really rare to see these guys get like these leg locks and these foot locks. Why is that? Is that because of like the sweat? I mean, why is that? Because obviously, you know, it's really, really good in grappling, but it's really rare in MMA. Why is that?
Yeah, he's my head coach. I mean, I live in Virginia. I live in Falls Church. Ryan Hall is my head coach. He's the reason I moved here was because I felt very comfortable with my striking in the sense that I could hit and move, but I always ended up on the ground because people didn't want to strike to a certain extent, and then they take me to the ground. And then I had basic jiu-jitsu, so we came here and we focused on my jiu-jitsu, and you know it's made a big difference. Ryan has been a phenomenal influence, coach, and mastermind of sorts, right? But I think the biggest reason to start off with, I say, one is just the type of archetype of character that plays or that fights MMA. You don't play MMA. You might play some jiu-jitsu, but you don't play MMA. You know, so most of the people that fight MMA are going to be just grittier. They don't necessarily accept the ground. They don't necessarily want to scoot their butt on the ground and play jujitsu. They're going to try to stand up and punch you in the face. Leg locks are a little bit easier when people accept the ground and accept to be on the ground and want to kind of, I would say, exchange on the ground. You know, when you fight somebody who is always trying to get back on their feet, extremely athletic, with an athletic build. I mean, most of these MMA guys are just monsters of athletes, right? You put them in a cage, they're not going to just sit down on the ground and try to stay there. You know, and then on top of that are uniforms. You know, we have a pair of shorts on and some gloves. We don't have spats, tights, rash guards that can create friction. So, yeah, by rounds 2 and 3, these entanglements and leg locks can be a little bit more challenging just because of their athleticism, the slipperiness, the sweat. That becomes a little bit more difficult. So at the end of the day, though, you know, the way we train these positions, we don't solely look for finishes. These are controlling positions that can keep us safe, and you know, positions that we feel is vital for MMA fighting.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. I was always wondering that because it's definitely really hard to get, and yeah, no, that's definitely some very good insight. Now, one thing I heard on a previous interview of yours, and I also interviewed Aaron McKenzie, and he could back you up on this one. You guys are in a group chat, and you said that with some of the tough drama, you know, it wasn't aired. Why do you think they were hiding so much stuff on the tough drama, and maybe what is something that they haven't shown that you wish they did?
um, yeah, man, they barely showed anything. It's insane. The Ultimate Fighter was an awesome show, but I think it was the first time that it was fully on ESPN. So, I mean, they had a specific time frame that they had to show the show. You know, they wanted to keep it like rated E for everyone. I think it was a different era of the Ultimate Fighter versus when it was aired on Spike. You know, or you know the different channels that it was aired on where they wanted that like nasty drama, you know. That being said, it was still set up for the same thing. I mean, they still had alcohol all around the house. You know, drama did happen between almost everybody. They had a little bit of drama. Um, you know, I don't think we had anybody busting through doors like Rampage. But yeah, I mean, slowly but surely, you'll see some Connor and Chandler outside of the world, yeah, outside of what the world saw come up. But yeah, I think it was just ESPN. They're just trying to keep everything friendly, and I think ours was potentially one of the first seasons or the second season that it was just aired on ESPN. So I think the Ricky Tercio season was aired on ESPN first. So I think it was that. I think some trial and error will allow them to show just a little bit more maybe drama, but at the same time, what are they going to choose? So I'm sure they don't want anything too gross, too nasty. So I would assume that that's the case. It was the ESPN stuff.
Yeah, I didn't even think about ESPN. That's actually a pretty good point. When it comes to just the Ultimate Fighter in general, what do you think was maybe your favorite moment, just being on the house, and what was maybe the best part about being in that mansion too?
I mean, just the opportunity that presented itself to start off with. Everybody in there was grateful. Cool moments was really just learning about yourself. Have you ever been locked in a mansion with 16 fighters and you don't have phone, telephone access, TV access, radio access, and you just have to just live with these people? Like that. That was interesting. I don't want to say it was tough, but it was just different. So that was an experience that I think will stick with me for the rest of my life, just because it helped me become a better man. Um, After a hard loss, we have so many, and just in general in life, let's say you have a loss of a family member, or loss of a job, or loss of something. After a hard loss, and for us fighting, um, it's easy to hide, or it's easy to divert your attention to the TV to kind of release stress, or your phone, or the internet. It's very easy to do so. But with us, after a loss, or after any kind of conflict, we literally had these people to confide in, or ourselves. So there were tough moments where you're like, well, I'm going to have to find a way to get through this negative situation by myself with my emotions and my mind, versus um, sticking to a screen, or doing something extracurricular, and that was a good moment for me, having to identify those moments and having to get past all of that with no technology. And then I would also say just the camaraderie that we built with all the guys, with the other team, with my team. We had moments where we didn't get along. We had moments where we did get along. But at the end of the day, we all fought for each other, because we're all MMA fighters living this tough life that isn't for anybody. And we all shared stories. We all talked, and we just grew as a group. So even though, we may never see each other again, we've all kind of, it's almost like going to the military, going to war. Like, we've all shared something special that will hold unique to our relationship for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, 100%. Now, with somebody that's trying to make it into the UFC, would you try and recommend the Ultimate Fighter to them, or maybe try and get on maybe a different way, like the Ultimate or the Contender Series, or just try and make it full term?
I mean, man, there's so many different ways of getting in. If you go to the Ultimate Fighter and all eyes on you, there's a show about you and the other guys. That's an opportunity. Um, I got my shot because I think I had a really good fight with the champ, Katona. I lost to him, but our team got kind of massacred by the other team, and I had a really good fight with Katona. I think that was one of the reasons they're like, oh, this guy, man, that was really good. We can potentially give him a shot, But obviously, that's one way. The Contender's another way. Being completely dominant in the regional scene is another way. There's a number of ways of getting there, but there's one recipe: work hard, get better, and win your fights. If I didn't win my last 4 fights in Fury in a row, I don't think I potentially would have gotten that call. So the recipe's simple: get better, be entertaining, and win your fights. That's how you're gonna get calls.
Yeah, 100%. Now, one thing I always like to ask every fighter that comes on the show is I'm a Taekwondo instructor. I've been training my whole life for 20 years, and I've been teaching for 6 years now. with that being said, with all the guys that I have in my gym, what advice would you give to those guys to keep on coming into the gym and to keep on getting better and better?
Man, Taekwondo is so awesome. Again, it's something that I've trained for 30 plus years. My life has been dedicated to the art, to the sport, and because of the way that I grew up in Taekwondo, I am where I am today, not just because of the skill, but because of the tenets of Taekwondo, a dominable spirit, self control, all that good stuff. So um, I would say, man, whether you're young or old, like embrace the lifestyle and then learn the art and then learn the fighting aspect. Don't get lost in any one particular aspect of that, but try to take it all in because there's a lot of special things in there. Taekwondo has the best kicks on the planet. Changed my mind. I train a whole bunch of arts. I love Muay Thai. I love Capoeira. But Taekwondo is our kicks are they even did a sports science I think on it a while back. And Taekwondo had like the fastest, most powerful kick. And I've fought a whole bunch of people. We are fast by the art, like by nature in our art. We're faster than others, and we throw powerful, good kicks. So take that for what it is. Self defense. If you give somebody a good kick in the leg or in the stomach, they might think twice. So, yeah, man, don't stop training. Just embrace it and learn as much as you can while your body can.
Yeah, no, 100%. And thank you for that. That's definitely a great message out there. And you reminded me, we usually have like a 7 tenets, and when you were saying like, some of the stuff like integrity and dominant spirit and all that stuff, that's all stuff that we usually say too at the end of our classes. So really, really cool there. Carlos, last message out there to the fans that are going to be watching this video.
Wait, wait for it. I'm going to be back, hopefully by the end of the year. I appreciate the support, the love, the messages, even the backlash. I understand why people got frustrated with the last fight. Optically, it didn't look like something that I could do. You see a little bit of my Taekwondo flash at that third round, but I wish I could have shown a little bit more. I was just very compromised. But I'll be training hard. I'll be continuing to master my game, and I can't wait to go back. Thank you to you, Kev. I appreciate you having me on, and best of luck to everybody.
Yeah. And Carlos, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. It's a big honor, and we're looking forward to you healing up and maybe seeing you again towards the end of the year. Thank you so much, my man.
Cheers, brother.
All right. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you again.